factual Kimberly Smith and Circa Live, weekly podcast based around Black culture, current events, entertainment, best friend series, Black love series, and controversial and informative topics and shows featuring special guests. Subscribe, listen, and follow on all podcasts and social media platforms.
And we are live, Unapologetic Live on Wednesday night. Before we get started, we have to take a moment and we have to say happy birthday to the Sir Goodwin Live.
Happy birthday, Goodwin!
Yes, happy birthday. Enjoy. I hope your day has been blessed and continue to do so. Before we get started with our ladies' night, I want to introduce my girl, Toya, that then came all the way in to help me do this. We did have some others, but people had to cancel, but that is okay because the show must go on. And before we jump into our Does Dating Suck topic, I want to shout out the Unapollagetic Podcast for having us on last Saturday. And his merch, you know me, I am not ashamed to ask for merch. I ask everybody, I do not care. And yes, our podcast with him drops Thursday, A Young Gotti World on YouTube. And to get his merch and more, visit him at Young Gotti at Instagram. Okay? So, man, we are going to do something today that for whatever reason the men get upset with us about. You know, as soon as you say anything about dating, girl, they have to come in and they have to give their opinion. They have to explain to us why, you know, we are the problem and they're not. And I'm just like, dang, can we just have a ladies' night?
Just a ladies' night.
Can we have a conversation?
All we want, just to talk and be heard.
Just to be heard. But you know them. They have to get their point across. Yes. So this is what I am going to do since, you know, they feel like that we're not listening.
Right.
And we don't understand their struggle. As soon as I put up that we were having a ladies' night tonight, one of our male listeners, of course they didn't message me. They messaged Goodwin.
Oh, wow.
But they sent a tidbit or whatever about why, you know, it's not just hard for women. It's also hard for men. Okay. So we're going to do the nice thing and we're going to start off with their opinion.
Okay.
And then we're going to go from there. He says, well, when I was out there in them streets, I can say yes. Even because the question was, does dating suck? So that's where he's coming from. Well, when I was out there in them streets, I can say yes. And even... and I can say yes, and even when the boppers, that's what he called them, the boppers shot they shot, it was trash. He says, allegedly it's hard for women, but it's hard for men as well. The quality level of women has significantly flattened. There is a lack of accountability, personal responsibility, amongst other things. And men are looking for the best deal. I will always take the luxury vehicle customized just for me. That's reliable, a true utility with low miles. Thanks for comparing us to cars. It's not a lot of Lexuses out there, and even when it's levels, to that, they may be a Lexus, but they are just not it. Okay, all right. So I felt like what we're going to do tonight, so we won't get the backlash that comes with us, you know, having our own platform, is we're going to give the reason why we think we're single. Okay. And I'll start. I think I'm single because I'm unforgiving. And what I mean by that is when I originally started to date someone, I hold you to the same standard that you hold me. Right. So if you play with my time, if you ghost me and then try to come back a few days later, a week later, anything like that, I'm very unforgiving. I'm one and done. Right. So that's why I'm single.
Right. Well, I can say pretty much the same on that level, but also, you know, my ideal guy is Idris Elba.
I know, right?
So he's not just walking around on the streets. Okay?
Right, okay.
But other than that, I will say that I'm very impatient. And that can go a number of ways. Right. Whether it's impatient with me doing what I want you to do, or like you said, with being like, okay, you cut off. It's like, so you're just not gonna give me any time to like be here. But I'm like, no, I'm done. Like, I'm done. And I get very easily irritated. And so I'm like, for me, I want to say it's probably the same thing. Okay. Is that like, I don't really know anybody that I'm really crazy about to want to go to this, like to push me out of the norm of my impatience and my cutting off and that moving on and it's like at this point I feel like I've been single for so long that it's like I do everything I want to do when I want to do it, how I want to. So it's like I'm not really having to need you to be there just to be there.
No, I get it. Yeah.
So I want to say those are my reasons off top that I can think of.
Okay, well then that actually leads us right into one of our questions. Do you think your independence is a problem with you being single?
To a degree, yes.
Okay.
Because I had somebody tell me before, like, if you go out, don't order everything on the menu. Like, don't do drinks and appetizers and dinner and dessert. And it's like, but I do it for me. But, but it's like, that's just you, though. What if you had to do that times 2?
Right.
3 times a week? Like, that gets a little bit expensive. So it's like, you don't want to bust the bank. But at the same time, it's like, I like what I like. So it's like, it's kind of like you have these expectations of what dating, and it's like, dating and marriage and all that can get fantastical, right?
Right.
So we think of it like, oh, it's beautiful, and there are flowers every day. It's like, not really. Like, so it's like, you got to just kind of temper your expectations for other people to a degree when it comes down to it. But I will say that I buy my own. I buy the flowers I like. Right. Like, I'm like, okay. I get the things. I get the perfume I like. So it's like, if you don't come, you gotta like come with it. Cause I'm like, it's not so too much that you're gonna do that. I'm gonna be like, oh, what? Like, I will be grateful. Right. Or whatever, or appreciative. But it's like so many things that I do already. Or
that it's kind of hard to disconnect.
Yeah. Right. And let somebody else in to do it for you.
I agree. Yeah. I have also been single a very long time. And I look at my independence as freedom. Okay. And I look at it as, like you said, I can do what I want. I can move when I want. I don't have to, check in. I don't have to do any of those things. And I can honestly say it does get in the way of me dating because, again, if I am dating somebody in any capacity and I feel it slipping in a negative way, I'm out. Right. Exactly. 100%.
And I feel like that. I think we might be identifying an issue tonight, like talking about it.
Oh wow, is it us?
Being frank and being honest about it, but that's important. It is, 100%. And it's like iron sharpens iron, so we're going to learn from each other in so many ways. But this area, like women are not always open to share their flaws and their shortcomings and their pitfalls and all that type of stuff. But it's like when we really flesh it out, it's like, well, what are you really? Because you got these expectations where it's like, no, you need to be this, have this, do this, but but it's like at the same time, are you bringing the energy that is going to make somebody want to be around?
That's true.
Cause it's like, I've been told recently, like, you're a rough woman, you a tough woman, you so hard. And I'm like, you so nonchalant and you don't care. I'm supposed to act like that. And I'm like,
I have been told on multiple occasions, Kim, you act like a nigga.
Right.
And I think to them, they think that's an insult or whatever. And to me, I'm not being funny or, trying to be condescending or anything like that. I usually just be like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like, I don't know how you really want me to respond to that or whatever. And I agree with you. I do feel like it's one of those things, like how you start looking at somebody like, oh Lord, what can you bring to this? Yeah. Because like this is already becoming passive. This is already becoming boring.
And I'm bored. Right. I was just gonna say I'm bored.
I'm bored.
Like the conversation has to take me somewhere. Like I can talk to anybody from a baby to a dog to a door. Like, but if we can't have a good conversation, I'm like,
I don't want any.
You draining me at this point because I can't give you the energy you're looking for because I'm like,
what are we doing?
And I think that too, it's like so much, women put so much pressure on themselves. Like you got to present yourself like this. Yep. You have to be nice. You have to be able to cook. You have to be able to do so many things. Right. But it's like, who's telling them how to treat a lady, how to talk to a lady? Like, And getting to know me is not asking me a line of questions. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm in an interview or auditioning for a part. Like, let's just have an organic conversation, see where it goes, how it goes, see how we talk to each other, and see if that works. But so many times, like, we're in such a hurry and such a rush to,
do you feel like now that there's, like you said, there's a line of questioning for dating? Like, in your 30s, as soon as you sit down on the first date, here's the 10 questions that we have to get through.
Right. And I think that some questions are important. Like, I know some guys that say, you know, well, what's your credit looking like? And what's this looking like? And how much you make it? Because they want to see how they're going to blend lifestyles.
Really?
I mean, the craziest questions I get are, well, do you even want kids? Can you have kids? Are you infertile? It's like, do you feel like that's appropriate? Like, you know, nobody's told you that might be inappropriate.
Like,
even.
Seriously.
And it's like, you know, you get all these, and like, I don't know. I just think that they don't know how to talk to you or how to, like, I've been told that it can be because you present yourself in an intimidating way.
I've also been told that I'm very intimidating.
But it's like, how I'm just sitting here. Like, I'm literally
doing anything. I'm not doing anything.
Not doing anything. But
I think I'm going to go back to the kid question or whatever. I think it's very hard for people, I think it's very hard for people to understand that some women can acknowledge that they do not want children.
Right.
I think when you sit down with men, especially in our 30s, and we don't have children, they always want, like you said, what's wrong?
Right.
What happened? Why? And or I always get, well, have you ever been pregnant?
And that's what I was going to say. I was like, so now you asking me about
like an abortion.
Medical reports and abortions.
Absolutely.
It's
like, I'm sorry, HIPAA exists.
Hello.
You know what I mean? No, I've never been pregnant. And then it's like, oh, okay, my bad. And I'm just like, well, no, it's not your bad because you actually...
You meant to ask that question. You intended to ask that.
100%. I think also... I want to know this. Because I get this a lot too. Do you think in any way that you're bougie or extra when it comes to dating? I've heard that as well.
I've heard that a lot. I can't lie because it's like, you know, I've even had exes tell me, well, maybe, you know, you look like you spent hours getting ready, and that can come across like, are you going to do a photo shoot? Like, sometimes men just don't want you to, like, do your hair. They don't want you to wear makeup. Like, just be regular. And I'm like...
But then you want to know what's so crazy? If I come out of the house with you regular, and then you run into somebody, then it's like... Dang, like, you know, oh, you're not going to, I ain't really want to introduce you because, but then it's also a problem that I came out looking snatched.
Exactly, like, I don't know. It's like, but it's like, I do both though. Right. Like, I'll go out, I'm not wearing a bonnet. No disrespect to anybody who does.
Jesus,
like,
the bonnet.
Don't police us. We can wear bonnets if we want.
That's true.
But I don't do that. But I'm like, I'll go out and I'll just look like, did you just roll out of bed? I'm like, possibly, but can I get my soap and go back home?
Right,
like, you know,
exactly.
But it's like, you know, some people just put a different... They like to present themselves a certain way. Right. And so I'm like, I'm not at the point where I want to do what you want me to do. I want to be me, and then whoever's for me is going to appreciate the way I do me. Exactly. And that's just that. Because I'm like, I'm always going to color coordinate. I'm always going to, like, that's just how I can't even. But the thing is, don't you think, especially since men have this thing that is so difficult to find a good woman, or it's so difficult to find a woman that they find presentable enough to put on their arm. Right. But then on the flip side of that, I'm doing too much. Right. So like, where is the divide? I'm confused. So you don't want me to do too much. Right. You want me to fall somewhere in the middle. Yes. Why do you have to have a whole beat face to go to, brunch? Well, because I'm out around people. Right. That's it. That's the simple thing. You never know who you're going to run into. Not even just that. Like I said, I'll go out and I'll do minimal or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't think that marks a bougie person or somebody who's uptight or whatever. I think that, like, sometimes they think, like, do I have to spend a lot of money on you? Okay. And I think that is the thing, because I'm like, well, you see what I like to do. You see how I like to eat. You see all of those things. Like, I'm not secretive about that at all. Right. And so it's like, if you're going to approach, then don't try to belittle me for liking what I like. Right. or don't try to talk me out of liking what I like because I like what I like. And like I said, I never said, like, if you want to go out and do a getting to know you type deal, okay. Well, like, if you want to go Dutch and then just be friends.
Right, that's fine too.
That's fine too. But, you know, it's just like, I think that they think that it's too many walls to knock down. And I had an ex whose friends told me that. We were like, this is years ago.
Years ago. Okay.
I'm at the club and my friend is like getting it in, and I'm like, you know, doing a two-step. And they were like, right. And they're like, you know, you see your friend, she looks like a lot of fun. You look like a lot of work. He was like, so I would go for her every time because I don't feel like going through all of this. And I was just like, wow.
Okay.
Like, well, at least I was honest.
At least it was honest. And that's the whole thing for me. Me personally, I'd rather you be 100% honest with me all the time, even if it's going to hurt my feelings, rather than bullshit me.
Exactly.
100%. So I think men have this thing that they think we have to cater to their feelings, when in all actuality, they're the more emotional creature. So a lot of the times we have to bend and twist ourselves to fit them, and, you know, to make sure we don't hurt their feelings.
Oh my God.
It's the truth.
They are so fragile.
They are so fragile.
Oh my God, you have to walk on egg. Like, any little thing you say can be taken out of context. I'm like, my thing lately is
too many times. What's wrong? And you like, oh, I'm so sorry. I had an eyelash in my eye.
Honestly, like, my thing lately is, did I say that?
Right.
Like, I keep doing. I keep finding myself saying that because I'm like, why are you so on? Are you looking for an issue, or like?
Or are you looking for a way out?
Or are you looking for an out? Yeah. Because, I mean, I'm not going to hold you where you don't want to be held.
Exactly.
Like, if you need an out, please, by all means, take it. Run. But it's like, I don't know. I just don't think that they, you know, they always tell us like, oh, you got issues, or oh, you crazy, or oh, you still into your ex. They don't ever acknowledge the fact they have issues.
At all. Or that they're into their ex, or they are using their ex to prolong or procrastinate with you.
Exactly.
Because in their mind, it could be something that they could go back to.
Right.
Now, one thing that I do admit, I believe when they say that a man fell in love once, and that person, even if it works out or if it doesn't work out, that's who they're going to love until they leave this earth.
Like somebody's. Like they can move on.
They can move on.
Because that's the thing, men can move on.
But they won't love you.
But they won't love you like they love that person.
100%.
That somebody always has a piece of that. And I do believe that. Like
100%.
There's always somebody back somewhere that got some of them that somebody else can't tap into.
That you can't tap into.
And no matter how good or how kind you try to be, it's just
you can jump over houses, bridges, horses, no matter what. You're never going to connect with them on that level because they've already put her in that space.
Exactly.
But this
they don't have the
question.
capacity to feel that.
They don't have the capacity. But this is my question. Do we settle for that?
We do.
We do.
Yes.
So
women settle for women settle for men that are not their type, that don't do the things that they like, that are actually not doing what they like.
Right.
But they are ready to settle down and build a family and have a baby possibly. So it's like, I can forego that for the sake of this unit.
Right.
And to a degree, I get it. But it's like, I feel like I tell people all the time, if you want, you know, like, oh, you not with nobody because you won't give me a chance. And I'm like, do you really want me to settle for you?
Exactly.
Because that's a disservice to both of us.
It is.
It's like, nah, you know, I never really wanted him and I don't like him like that, but he wanted me and it was available. So, and it's like, why do you want somebody to feel that way about you?
100%.
That's a disservice.
But then this goes back to the question that men ask. Okay. Are you trying to date above your station? Like, are you trying to date? So we have this running joke, like you just said. Women always want somebody that's unattainable. And then the man that want us, we never want. So for whatever reason. But the thing is that whose fault is that? Is that on us? Because like you said, we have a perfectly reliable man right here that is literally beating down our door. But like you said, he doesn't check a box. He doesn't look like what we want him to look like, something like that. And then we have the man in the other box that we keep going back and forth with, that we scared to blink around. Who do you choose and why? It hurts when the heat comes out. It hurts.
The heat is on tonight, you all.
It hurts.
Oh my God. So, you know, they say men are the chasers or the pursuers.
Right.
But I feel like women get a thrill out of that too.
We do.
Because like they say, oh, y'all go for the bad boys or whatever. But like you said, the one that you're scared to blink around.
Right.
We're doing our darndest to try to win your affection or attention. But like you said, it's this guy over here that's like, you are so beautiful.
All the time.
Can we spend time together?
All
and I'll
the
be
time.
like, no.
Ain't got what you doing? Literally sitting on the couch watching The Office.
Like, why though? Like, so back to what I said that's why some women do settle, because they're like, I'm playing myself waiting for you.
Right.
Just because you're beautiful. And it's like, sometimes they check all the boxes.
That's
like,
true.
They look how they want you to, how you want them to look.
Yep.
They have a house. They have a nice car. They have a stable job. They have a great credit score. It's like, why wouldn't I wait for him
Why?
But
the problem is,
it's like, will he ever?
Will he ever?
And do people really change?
Exactly.
Because is he really going to change to be the man that you need him to be?
No.
While you're waiting around for him, and this one over here,
it's like, hey, hi, flowers, candy, text messages, phone calls,
dates.
Dates.
Initiating dates. Can I spend Saturday with Saturday?
Can we please go back? We're gonna take a step back because she just hit something on the head.
Right.
Dates.
Dates.
Let me tell y'all what we simply consider a date.
Yes.
Us in the same airspace. That's
exactly.
A date. That's literally a date.
Breathing COVID air.
Literally that can be at the beach, in the house, at the ice cream shop, at Starbucks. It does not matter where we are, as long as we are sharing the same airspace. That is a date.
It's a date.
Men make it so complicated. They act like you are asking them to fly you to Italy.
Hello.
To literally. You will say, hey, I'm free.
Exactly.
This time and this time. Right. I'm literally give them a specific time. I'm free this time and this time. And people will still find a way to make it overly complicated.
Yes.
To make it like they are so overly busy.
Yes.
And then as soon as that energy changes, how dare you?
Exactly.
How dare you?
And I don't know. I guess it's like somebody told me, like, you require too much. I was like, I have literally never listed anything that would come across as a requirement to you. Never. Well, it's just what it's just how I feel about what you want. How you feel about what I want.
That we never had a conversation about.
Did I tell you I wanted that?
Do you love the men that have a conversation about you in their head without you?
Yes.
And then
I hate that.
I love it, because then all of a sudden you start to feel the animosity. Yes. And you're like, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
But it's nothing you said, nothing you did. Like you said. To me, I feel like dating now is me going on your social media, finding out everything I can about you via your social media, and then using it against you. Right. Just like you said,
you are do that all day, every day.
You personally are a beautiful person that loves this city. I get my ideas from, I'm like, let me go see let me put this on the list. Right. So I can see a man, looking at that or whatever, and then coming back like, oh man, like she like to go outside.
I do.
I'm so sorry that I like to go outside. But we'll literally use that against you in dating, just because you simply like to take yourself outside.
I do, and it happens so often that I'm like baffled. Like, I had a guy actually say, do you want to go to dinner? Mind you, I worked with this guy like years ago. So we've seen each other in passing or whatever the case may be. So when he messaged me, I was kind of like, is this real? Like, are you serious? And he was just like, yeah. So let me know where you want to go or when you're available, because we can make reservations for lunch and dinner, or lunch or dinner. It's your choice. We can do both. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I never asked you for anything, by the way.
Right. You offered.
You offered.
Okay.
And so then it turns into, let's just chill at my crib. I'm like,
all the lies you tell.
I said, sir, I'm not big on house dates. Okay,
yeah, no.
Like, and especially chilling at your crib.
I don't know you.
I think one night there was an offer of a frozen pizza.
Oh no, sweetie, my DiGiorno can go in my own oven. Thank you.
No, thank you. And so it was like, oh, I don't have to spend money on you for you to like me. And I was like, indeed you don't. But you trying to get me to chill at your house is not going to get you to like me either. And you knew from my social media what I like to do.
Of course.
So your offer was a way to get in.
Exactly.
And it was a manipulative tactic at this 100%. Point because you never meant to actually utilize it. It was just a way for you to get in the door.
I 100% agree. Now,
and so
that type of man I can't stand. Let me tell you the other type of man I can't stand. The overly, hey, what you doing?
Oh my gosh.
That one gets on my nerves. And then 2, why don't you ever reach out to me? Because you've invited me on a date and then you disappear.
Exactly.
And then you come back weeks later and invite me again and then disappear. And then you come back again a month later and then me personally.
Do we know the same guy?
Clearly we do. Clearly we do. Because then this is what irritates me to the highest level of degree. So when you do the back and forth, the up and down, like, oh, hey, this, or even one guy, we went on one date, literally one day. We had a fantastic time, everything. All of a sudden, boom, ghost. But then hits me and says, I can't believe you ghosted me. I was like, oh, check the text. I actually texted you last.
Right.
Now, you know, I'm very direct and honest, so whatever. I don't do the back and forth or whatever.
Same here.
Very, very direct. So he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I just got caught up. Instead of just saying that at the beginning, you try to initially push the blame off on me.
Exactly.
So then, go again. I'm like, okay, well, let me know when you're free. Like that. Same thing all over again. Cycle. Weeks later, boom. Nope. See, now I never respond.
Right.
So I have a laundry list of messages in Facebook and Instagram of, hey Kim, nope, you get twice.
Hey Kim.
Literally, the hey Kim is ridiculous. If you get twice, if you invite me somewhere and never follow up, or if we go somewhere and you disappear, you will never see or talk to me again.
And that's the thing, like, I don't get I don't want to say crazy, but I don't get the crazy in some of these guys, because it's like, you know, the last guy that was trying, you know, to honestly, like, give it an earnest effort, he's like, you know, I've been after you for years. Why won't you really give me a chance? So I was like, okay, fine. Let me just try to see if there is something there. A possibility. And I'm like, I'm talking to you on the phone, and it was just a day where I had time open. So I'm like, we're video calling.
Oh, wow. Look at you. You're so nice. Don't ever video call me.
Thank you.
Oh, man. Don't ever video. The only people that can video call me is my family.
I'm like, what is with the video?
Don't you
and they always try to do it at like the early hours of the morning.
Why?
I'm like, sir, I've posted pictures without makeup. If you think there's a monster under here, it's not.
Or do you think it's to see if you're
somebody's
with somebody? Yes.
Possibly.
Yes.
Possibly.
Me personally, if you call me after a certain hour or you call me early in the morning, you're trying to see if I stayed at somebody's house or if I woke up with somebody.
Exactly.
Yes.
That too.
Yes.
So I'm like, I have no problem. Like, I'll video call you, whatever, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm not worried about what I don't need you to validate me either way. But it's like, you know, it was like the next day, oh, you ready to talk to daddy all day? And I was like, first of all, let's not daddy. I had a father. Like, we don't need to do that. I didn't say a father. I said, call me daddy. And I was like, how about not?
It's going to be a no for me.
Yeah, it's going to be a no. And then it was like, let's talk for 8 hours today. And I was just like, how about I can't do that? Like, I happened to have free time yesterday, so I was able to give you time. But that's by no means is going to happen every day.
But why in the world were y'all in the same city?
Yes.
So why in the world would we talk on the phone for 8 hours when we're in the same city?
I have no clue.
Make it make sense.
I don't know.
Okay.
And so I'm like, you know, and then it's like, the phone call drops. You proceed to call me 10 times back to back. And by the third call, I had already determined I'm not answering any more calls today because this is crazy.
Yes.
And then I'm like, you know, when I finally did talk to him, I was like, you know, that is a turn off.
That's
like,
weird.
That is obsessive.
Yes.
Nothing is obsessive about it. We were talking, and I was like, we were talking, but call me. If I don't answer, maybe send a text. say, I'll hit you later.
Right.
Okay, fine. But I'm like, you don't need, and this is within minutes. Like,
oh, no.
So I'm like, this is weird to me. Like, I don't feel safe. Like, I watch plenty of Fatal Attraction.
Oh, Lord. You and my bestie, Simone.
I'm just saying, I watch plenty of Fatal Attraction. So I don't need that type of energy where, because I'm like, there's a young lady recently who was killed by her boyfriend in Brownsville.
In the car.
Yeah, and he shot her because she was trying to break up with him. I'm like, none of there needs to be balance. Like, that's my thing. You can be crazy about me. You can feel a way about me, but don't be obsessive. Like, because it's too much. So I'm like, dating can go for me either way, where it's like, you doing too much. And like my friend Niatu,
let's meet in the middle.
He has he talks about dating a relationship. Niatu, I think his name is on Facebook.
Okay.
But he talks about love bombing. And that's something I had only recently heard of.
Now, what's that?
So love bombing is when somebody showers you with like pet names and calls you all day and tries to like speed up the love process.
Whoa.
To try to like reel you in and lock you in very quickly.
Okay.
And I understand some people get into relationships and it's like, boom, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. I want it. Let's do this.
Right.
But there are other times where it's like, you're
way too much.
flooding me right now.
Like love bombing.
It's not love bombing. Yes.
Oh,
and it's not, it's like things don't unroll organically. So it's like, I'm not really learning you. You don't know me. You're married to an idea of me in your head.
Yes.
So I had to tell him, like, I'm not perfect. Like, whatever you're thinking about me, like, I can be vicious.
Right.
Like Beyonce said, I'm up in the afternoon. I'm like, all these things, I'm like a real person.
Exactly.
So it's like, you're thinking like,
I'm not this figment that you created.
Exactly. Right. It's like, you're everything I could ever wanted and I want to marry you and let's get it. Like, introducing himself to friends and family as a fiance.
Oh, no.
And they were like, I didn't know you were engaged. And I was like, me neither. I had no clue.
Girl, I wasn't even there.
Mind you, this is totally, it's not like, oh, you must have put no, I didn't put anything on him. Not a root, not a cooter cat, like nothing.
I didn't even cook my spaghetti.
Nothing.
Seriously.
So I'm like, this is weird to me because first of all, it can't be real if it's this intense.
It's too much.
Unprovoked.
Right.
Unwarranted. Unmerited.
Yes.
And then it's just like so many little things that it's like, I can't really accept you because it's too much.
It's too much. I personally, with that, I've had that happen to me on multiple occasions. Yeah. And the thing is that I recoil very, very quickly. Right. I had no idea that it was a name for it. Yeah. But love bombing is exactly.
If you Google it, it will come up and it'll explain it to you. But
it makes no sense. So my whole thing is that if you've created a fantasy of me, you're never going to get to know the real me. Right. So you wanting to be in my presence 24 hours a day, 8 days a week, not 7, 8 days a week, to me is a problem because we just got to know each other. We just met. So how in the world are you going to see how I work in my world, in my environment, if you don't give me the chance to be in my world, in my environment? It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Another type of man that love bombs is the ones that then try to use you showing distance as a problem. Yes. Throw it back at you.
Told me that I was still stuck on my ex.
See,
and I was like, what ex are you even like? Who are you talking about? Like, even like, because it's like, oh, you need to heal. And I'm like, from
I've gotten that too. I've gotten, I wish you would open yourself up so you could so I could love you. Yes. Do you love yourself? Exactly. That's my question. Because if you're so worried about getting love from me, that lets me know that you're lacking.
You're lacking something somewhere.
Because
those are issues.
That is a red flag.
Deal with your issue.
But I think also too with this generation, I think people want everything on fast forward. Yes. You know what I mean? Yes. So I do think that for some women, they'll meet a man. The man might, be, in my terms, both actually were very well off or whatever. Yeah. And in their minds, they're like, shit, I hit the jackpot. Right. I might be annoyed with him. He might be getting on my nerves. Right. He might not be my type, but I hit the jackpot.
But that's why it's hard for when you are accomplished like that to find real love, because people are not liking you. No. They're drawn to the possibility of you taking care of them,
100%.
What you can give them, the lifestyle you can provide, the places you can go. So it's like, to me, like, that's why one of my love languages is like acts of service.
Oh, come Oh.
But it's not the top one. Like quality time and physical touch are really because I'm like, anybody you can use words all day.
Yes.
You can do things for me all day and it won't mean a thing.
Yes.
Because you can be doing that for her over there. Especially if you got it. Because everybody know it ain't tricking if you got it.
That is true.
So if you got it, you spending money on me or sending me, it's nothing.
Nothing to you.
It means nothing. Because I know that to you could do this all day, every day, and it won't break no
You
bank.
could literally just move me right out the seat and move somebody else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, so it's like, if you coming to me and you giving expensive gifts or you buying me a bracelet or whatever the case may be, I'm like, this is for little or nothing.
Right.
Like, you can do this then.
Exactly.
And it's not that I don't appreciate it, but it's like you take everything with a grain of salt. Like, I'm not going to jump at the chance. And I think that's the other thing with women our age.
Yes.
They're like, okay, well, she ready. Like, ooh. They're like, she ready.
Yeah.
You know, she's on the last bit of maybe could have a kid, so I could catch her and it'll be what it is. And I'm like, not quite.
Not quite.
You know, so it's just like, when you have those types of standards and barriers, then they feel like, oh, you hard or you closed off.
Yes.
Because why aren't you sweet and open?
Oh.
Because that's what women are supposed to be.
That is, I am supposed to whistle and you are supposed to come running.
Exactly.
How dare you not run to these flowers and this jewelry? How dare you? I don't understand.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Question. Can you start a healthy relationship with just texting?
So I express myself a lot.
Okay.
So if you look at some of my Facebook posts, if it's somebody's birthday that's special to me or somebody passes that's close to me, I'll write a book. So that's my thing. But at the same time, I feel like there needs to be that verbal conversation.
Yeah.
Because there's a different intonation. You know, like I can read a text that says, good morning, how are you? You know, have a good day. But in my mind, that's sweet. But in your mind, it probably came across like, you didn't text me back last night. So I sent that to be like, good morning, how are you? Have a nice day. So, but I wouldn't know that if I don't talk to you.
That's
because
exactly.
the information gets lost.
Right.
And the communication barrier, it breaks down because it's like, I don't have to guess what you're thinking or saying.
Right.
Like, you can communicate that clearly to me. You can be texting me in a car with someone else.
Yeah.
You can be texting me in the bed with your wife. Like, I have no clue.
That is true.
So it's like, no, talk to me. Like, I want to spend some time. I want to hear your voice.
Right.
Like, I want to get accustomed to how do you talk to, how do you whisper sweet nothings to me? Like,
I agree.
How do you speak to me? Like, you need to know how to speak to me. Like, I don't like when dudes cussing me. So it's like, if you talking to me, you like, the fuck you doing? Like, excuse me.
Oh, no.
We're not going to do that.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
like, don't, you know.
No, I agree.
So it's like, but some people don't see a problem with that.
Right.
Because there are women out there that talk like that.
True.
That, so it's like, but that's not for me.
See, now I cuss like a sailor, but I don't cuss at you. I'm not going to set up here and bullshit at all. Anybody that know me know I cuss like I have to literally catch myself when I'm like, oh Lord Jesus, children in the room. But no. But with the texting thing, I so agree. Like, I feel like that texting is lazy. But and me also too, I feel like the man sets the standard when it comes to that. So
they set everything.
Right.
So this is the thing. My cousin always says, women have all the power in a relationship. I was like, sir. But a woman can't say, we're in a relationship. If a man says, we in a relationship, she like, we in a relationship.
Exactly.
If a man say, no, we just kicking it. I want to just be cool. Well, we just kicking it. We just cool right now. But it's like, if he says it,
that's what the lead is.
That's where you're going to follow that.
100%.
That's why a man has to, going back to the last show we did, a man has to propose.
He does.
Because I can't be like, you know what, tomorrow let's get married. He going to be like, what?
Hell no.
Right.
Yeah, no.
So it's like, it's up to him. So he does set the precedent.
He set the precedent. So to me, that's the strange thing for it. Like, you'll be so engulfed months later or whatever. And then to me, I start to distance myself because we've already set this standard in all these months or whatever that we've been talking or dating or whatever you want to call it. And the thing is like you said, so if texting is your way of communication, for me, I'm out because I'm with you. I don't know what we're doing through text because I text my coworkers. Yeah. I text my boss. Yeah. You know? And I feel like a lot of things get lost in translation when it comes to texting. Because me personally, I'm with you. That, hey, how you doing? If you, for whatever reason, think in any capacity that I'm upset about something, that I'm annoyed about something, you are reading all of my texts like that. Instead of literally just picking up the phone saying, hey, how you doing?
Yeah. And it's just like, you know, I like the show The Crown.
Oh, really? Okay.
I love The Crown. Like, I probably watched it like 4 times, but there was one part on it where the Queen, there was a new prime minister, and he came in, and she said, "Oh, sit down. Do you want something to drink?" And he was like, "Did nobody tell you?" She's like, "Nobody tell me what?"
Oh.
And he was like, "Your grandmother, the former queen, never invited anybody to sit down or to have refreshments."
Oh.
Because in her mind, she's like, "I'm the queen, so you have 20 minutes to talk to me. Whatever you got to tell me,
oh wow,
can be communicated in 20 minutes."
Right.
So everybody doesn't and shouldn't have the same access to you on the phone, or whatever the case may be. So if I'm offering you availability, take that as a gift.
Hell yeah.
Because I'm not going to just sit on the phone with any and everybody all day.
Now, can we? Now that's a word.
Right.
Now that's a word. Did you hear what she said?
Yeah.
I am giving you my availability. Ooh, now that one was real. Seriously, because I don't think people think like that at all. I think people think like, oh, well, I'll just do it whenever I get time. But like you said, I'm giving you access to me.
Right.
Not everybody has this access.
Right.
Because again, I'm denying the 30-something people in my inbox and in my DM trying to get to me because I want to talk to you.
Exactly. And my friend Shecky said, texting grows old and tradition never dies.
You better tell the truth.
Tradition never dies. And it's like, I saw a quote that said tradition is just peer pressure from dead people.
Ooh.
But to a degree, it is how the world goes round.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
exactly.
it's like every new generation that comes in and thinks they know more than the previous generation.
Oh, Lord, yes.
Oh, my grandma was old fogey. She don't know nothing, baby. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Listen to Granny. Take some notes.
Seriously.
Like,
please take some notes.
And lock into somebody. Because, like, if we're dating, some people get that misconstrued where it's like, I'm hopping from this one, hopping to that one. Like, no.
Right.
It's like I'm talking to people.
Exactly.
I'm getting to know people, but that doesn't mean that everybody is...
We're not in a relationship.
Yes.
I think that's such a good point that you brought up. The definitions.
Right.
Dating and being in a relationship is 2 different things. I can date as many people as I want to.
Right.
And I can do it in dating. I can do whatever I want to in dating because I haven't committed to anyone. Right. I think for whatever reason, this day and age, and I don't know how this got misconstrued, especially since everybody is so fluid these days.
Hello.
I personally think with the dating part, I think women have unfortunately, we always have I call it a stuck. So we'll start dating somebody and then we'll eventually start to drift off for everybody else that we're talking to. Now, this man hasn't asked us to be in a relationship. This man hasn't asked us to date him exclusively. He hasn't asked us any of these questions, but for whatever reason, in our mind,
we cut everybody else
off and we start dating them when they're dating multiple people. I've learned over the years of being single, date who you want.
Yes.
Date how many you want.
Right.
Until one person says, "Hey, Kim, we're not doing this no more.
Exactly.
We're doing this."
Exactly.
100%.
Right. And then, but you can't blur the lines and then expect clarity.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? So it's like, oh yeah, you can come over. I'm gonna cook for you. I'm gonna do this for you. It's like, what part of dating are we like? You have to temper that to me. Because it's like, men will invite themselves to your house, no problem.
Oh, quick.
You just got my number. Hey, can I come through? What makes you think?
I don't know you. I don't know. Now, that is a thing.
What makes you think that is about to happen? I'm cooking. You making a plate for me?
No.
If you want to get to know me and impress me and pursue me as a woman, and I tell you I am hungry, and you don't then say, do you want to go grab a bite to eat? I'm already turned off. We don't really have to do too much more talking. I'm going to let you talk, but I'm going to be like...
And the thing is also...
What time is this going to be over?
I can't stand this narrative that it has to be expensive. It has to be over the top. It has to be all of these things. It doesn't have to be any of these things. If I conveniently tell you that I'm hungry and you know that I like Chipotle... Let's go to Chipotle.
Right.
I don't give a damn what it is. The thing is like you said, it's just you listening to the fact that I told you that I was hungry.
So you took note of what I like.
Boom.
And you followed through.
100%.
That's impressive.
That's impressive.
So my friend LaTroy says, when a man says you're in a relationship, he relinquishes a part of control to the woman he commits to.
Ooh, I love that. Yes, sis. So 100%.
You know,
I agree with that.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, they want to control everything sometimes. Some guys want to control everything.
Most guys.
But it's like, if you really want a partnership, you have to give your woman a voice and a place in the relationship.
Yes.
You can't just be like, no, it's what, because I just had that happen. Where it's like, I run my relationship. You're not going to tell me what to do. I'm not going to run this into the ground. But you, and this is what he told me, like, be quiet. I'm talking. I was like, you have to leave.
Oh, this is a hell no.
This is an absolute
hell no.
Like, what just happened? Because I'm like, that is never going to be.
No.
I'm not that woman.
No.
Like, some women can be like, okay, I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to let him talk. You know, I'm going to be the lady and say in a woman's place. He can go and be the. I'm like, no.
It's going to be
I'm way too vocal for that. I'm way too vocal.
Right.
I'm like, I know myself.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to put myself in a situation that I know doesn't fit me.
Boom.
So it's like some women, I could take down to my man. I could, know when to be quiet. I'm like, I have something to say.
See, and the thing is,
and I'm going to communicate what I have to say.
I think that's also misconstrued as well, because people try to make it like women having a voice is being disrespectful. Like, there is nothing in me that wants to disrespect my man. Yes. There's nothing in me that's going to say no to a man that can lead me. Right. But you have to show me that you can lead me.
That you have the capacity to be that man.
So. I'm not going to follow you blindly and then I'm the fool because I can't get upset with you when we crash. Period.
Right.
That's it.
Right. Because, and like he said, like, I give you that control too.
Exactly.
Like, I'm letting you drive me, so it's like, and my friend says, D says, you got to find the ones dating with a purpose, because dating too many men can mean hooking up these days.
This is true.
And that's where I was going with that. I was like, because it's like, I'm dating multiple people, but that don't mean like, you come through tonight and you come through tomorrow. Like,
see, and that's another thing I want to
That's a misconception.
Right, that's also a big misconception.
Yes.
Also, I think that grown people need to be more honest. Right. Men will get so much further with honesty.
So much further.
If we meet and we vibe and you tell me, yo, I'm not looking to date in a relationship. I'm honestly just looking for a fuck buddy. Give me the option.
Because that's
you
my
never
thing.
know what I'm going to say.
Auditioning for a role that I don't want to play.
Woo, sis, tell them again. Tell me
because that means you have me auditioning for a role I don't want to play.
Exactly.
Like, don't have me playing a fool and I signed up for another role.
Exactly.
Like, come on. And that's why I say you can't, if your goal is to be polygamous.
Right.
Or to get a third.
Yes.
Possibly.
Right.
You coming to me saying, I want to be faithful to you and you alone is not going to get you what you want.
At all. Not
and
at
if you're a man that got game and is a man that can stand on his own and say what he want and get what he want, you should be able to say that.
Period.
And get what you want.
And get what you want.
Like, don't play with me and lie to me, trying to manipulate me to get into a lifestyle that is not
trap me.
Don't trap me.
Don't trap me.
Right.
That's
what like, my emotions are going to get wrapped up.
Yes.
And I think that's what they bank on, is playing on your emotions so much that you like, I don't want to lose you. Okay, whatever you want. Okay, now let's just do this, but maybe this one time. It's not going to be this one time.
Not at all.
Like, if that's not what you're about,
like you said,
you got to walk away.
Do not have me auditioning for a role you never meant to put me in at all. That is a word, 100%.
Yes.
Because I feel like lately dating, that's exactly the roadblocks I've run into. Now, it takes a lot for me to date a person. It really does. Really, like you said, you have to check some boxes. I have to be entertained. I have to be... Because
you don't want to waste anybody's time.
Vice versa. I don't want to waste your time.
I want you to... I hate... One of my biggest pet peeves is inconsideration.
Yes.
Broken dates.
Yeah. Oh my God.
If you break a date with me or lie to me.
Yes.
I'm like,
like I said in the beginning of the show, unforgiving. Because I'm not going backwards. It is very funny to me because I didn't realize that was such a thing. Yeah. That most women like forgave men that like ghost them and things like that. We actually had a married couple in here. Their first date, he never showed up or whatever. And then, like, I guess a couple days later or whatever, he reached back out to her, apologized. Long story short, they're married or whatever. And in my mind, even when I was listening to it, I was just like, I would have never in a million years. But I mean, look, it worked. Like, she has a forgiving heart, which in her case, this particular time it worked out because that God really did send her husband. Okay. So in my mind, I do battle with it because I hear things like that, and then also in my mind, I'm like, but also you could just be a fuck nigga.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
It could literally
or
be
one of those who thinks he's a good dude, like Tasha told Lawrence on Insecure.
Yes!
Best line ever. Like, oh my God. Because it's like,
that one was so good.
So I'm like, who wrote that?
Oh my God.
Because it's like, you want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but it's at the risk of playing a fool.
Yes.
And nobody wants to be openly the fool.
Exactly.
And so it's like, you're trying to protect yourself and your heart and your, you know, and it's like people are, oh, you have to deal with your baggage. Listen, babe, we're in our 30s, 40s, possibly at this point. It's like nobody's coming to you without any baggage.
Nobody.
Life is throwing baggage at you by the day, baby. So it's like you're gonna have to deal with some level of something.
100%.
So it's not gonna always, like, we have to get out of our head that it's gonna be perfect.
Absolutely.
Like, he came, he swept me on my feet. No. He bought me the biggest diamond. He was the perfect. He bought a hat. Like, come on, man. It's not gonna. It might not go like that
at all. Oh, let me ask you this then, since we are being honest in our 30s or whatever. Do you think it's possible for you to meet your soulmate in your 30s?
I think so, only because there are situations where maybe he settled prematurely.
Ooh, okay.
And he was just eager, you know, because there are men who are hopeless romantics.
100%.
And they just want love. I just want to, and it don't even have to be from a bad place. Maybe they saw their dad loving on their mama like that, and they always wanted to be their daddy. Boys always want to be their daddy.
That's true.
So it's like, oh man, I just wanted somebody who was gonna look out for me like that. I was tired of being, you know, having no emergency contact. Right. I was tired of not being able to talk to somebody, and so that could be the case. That's one of the best case scenarios.
Okay.
You know. But maybe he got divorced. Maybe the wife died. Yeah. Maybe, Jesus, you know, all kinds of situations where it's like, is there a second chance at love? Okay. Is there a third chance at love? Because by now we've been in love, you know.
Absolutely.
We've had, but I told my sister the other day, I was like, you know, the one I really thought, I was like, you know, one of my longest relationships that I was really in love with, I'm like, I don't think I ever felt love the way I wanted to from him. Like, and it was like, the family and I are still cool. Like, you know, I was cool with his mama. You know, we did everything together, but it's still, you know, there could still be something missing.
100%.
So it's like, and that's why people cheat. Because that little bit that's missing is filled by someone else.
That's true.
But somebody else could have that little bit and not the rest of, you know, so it's like, you have to look at it as, what is my idea of love? And I think those are 3 questions that I feel like people should be able to answer before they get in a relationship are, what do I have to offer? Okay. What do I want? And who am I? Ooh. Because if you don't know who you are, you don't know what your turn-ons and turn-offs are. True. You don't know that you want to spend Saturday alone and Sunday with somebody. Facts. You don't know, like, you haven't spent enough time with yourself to know what you need. That's exactly. And so you're pulling people into this life that's,
you don't even know what it is.
Unorganized. Exactly. Like disorganized. Like, so you don't even know what you require of this woman. Right. Because you don't know you don't know what you want. That's true. You don't know what you can give her. It's like, I don't know what's in my refrigerator. Maybe go take a look. Like, you know, it's like, you don't even know.
Ranch back here, what to go with it? Nothing. Yeah, I think those 3 questions are the most important. 100%. Yeah. I think people get so lost in not wanting to be alone that, like you said, they just attach without asking the questions, without knowing who they are as a person, and without healing. Right. I feel like that majority of relationships in our age fail because the other person hasn't healed. Exactly. And so something that you had no idea about triggers them. Yes. And then that trigger creates their flight. And your triggers are not my responsibility. Exactly. Your triggers are your responsibility. 100%. The world can't walk on eggshells around you. And you have to deal with the world around you. Yes. So it's like, and my friend just said, some women turn men into these hard, unloving, untrusting characters. That is true. Because we tend to think like men just ain't good to us. And that's why some of these women are dog dirty. They are horrible. I mean, I be listening to stories like, she did what? Like, how could you? Sister, you set us back. Like, you know,
some of these women are bad.
I have one thing that I will say or whatever is that, you know, sometimes I do vibe better with men, friend-wise or whatever. And so I do always get, let me just tell you, I'm like, sure, you know, what happened? Right. And I've heard some horror. I've heard some left at the altar. I've heard some, the night before our wedding, she told me she was going back to her ex. Like, it is.
I heard she had a baby with me, cheated with a dude at work, moved in with him, and left me with the baby.
Oh, hell no!
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you will be surprised. You will be surprised. I do. And so then you meet these hard monsters in the street, and they want to be in love, but they don't even know how.
No, that's respectful.
Because they're afraid. They like, you look nice, but you might hurt my. You like, I'm like,
the bitch left me.
I'm like, I have no desire to hurt you, okay? But they're scared. Yeah. So they're scared just like we're scared.
100%.
But they don't know how to communicate it the way we communicate.
Oh, exactly.
Men are they're not as vocal about their pain.
Not at all.
They'll be at a funeral looking hard. Like, boy, cry. You want to cry.
Look,
like,
my ex wouldn't even go. Yeah, no. It was a hell no for him.
There's so many things that we miss in trying to be hard instead of actually communicating with one another.
This is true.
And so we're like ships passing in the night
all the time.
Because we're what each other needs.
But we don't know how to connect.
We don't know how to connect.
We don't know how to connect the two.
And that's the frustrating part. And I feel like I said last time, we're both blaming each other, especially black men and black women.
100%.
You can't provide for me. You want a man that got this. You can't do this for me. You want that. And it's just like, this is systemic. You don't see that?
100%.
Like, we get more opportunities. Mm-hmm. We're making more money. We're earning more education. Yes. We're being breadwinners. We got more female doctors
than ever
on my timeline than men. It's like, we get doctorates and we're going for the goal. We're opening businesses, and they're like, "Well, you leaving me? Where do I fit in how can I lead you and be the head of a household
when you have more than me?
When I'm inadequate, I feel inadequate."
Well, and that's my question. Why is it my fault that I had to pull myself up by the bootstraps?
Right.
And now, since you put together that I have more than you. You've never asked me.
Right.
Or whatever. But your perception is that you have more than me. Mm-hmm. And so, therefore, now, that's a flaw.
Exactly. Because the last guy I was dating was like, I'm making this much, so I know you're making this much too, because you got a degree, I'm like, sir, I don't make that.
See, so, I will tell anybody that a major turnoff for me in dates, if you live in degrees in education.
Right.
I cannot take it. Like, yes, I have a degree. Yes, I was blessed to, go to college or whatever like that. None of that shit means anything to me.
Right.
Not at all. Period. I do not care if you walked across the stage for your master's, your doctorate, your doctorate. I don't give a damn. And if you leave with that, that lets me know that you don't know who you are as a person. Because
who are you without it?
Exactly. If I ask you who you are and you tell me an
your
occupation,
accomplishments,
I'm out. Because you don't know how to live beyond that.
Right.
I cannot do it. Like, I've literally stopped dating people because they just didn't. And then on top of that, I still have to bring you around who I love.
Exactly.
And if
you live in that and these people, this group doesn't, are you looking down on them?
There you go.
Are you judging? Because I don't need that either.
At all.
Because I don't need to be the couple that comes around. It's like, we're the ones that meet. Like, I don't need to feel like that.
We're the Joneses.
Yeah, I don't need to do I don't need that.
We did not want to go to the Ponderosa tonight.
Hello.
We want to go to the Michael Jordan Steakhouse. I don't give a damn.
I don't need that.
I can't.
So it's like, I need you to be a man that is sure of himself as a man without having to assert yourself over me to feel like you are that man.
100%.
Like, you don't need to tell me to be quiet or I run, like, that goes without saying.
That
if you're
lets me know.
Adequately manning.
Boom. But that lets me know that you feel inadequate.
Exactly.
If you feel like you have to put that type of dominance over me, you're inadequate in your own feelings as a man.
Right.
And you think you dominating me gives you some more of that dominance back.
Right.
So let me ask you this. Both are in our 30s, both without children. Do you date men with children?
I feel like I have been caught in situations where I have liked a man that has kids.
Okay.
But my preference would be that you don't.
Okay.
Only because, and this is probably like, it stems from a previous relationship where time just wasn't being made and all of this, and the blame was always, the babies. I'm like, the babies are darn near teenagers. And they're at home with their grandparents. There's no reason for you to not be, you know what I mean? So it's like, but outside of that, it's like, there's so many other factors. Like, I would say you play second fiddle to the kids because you're not their mom.
Of course.
But every mom is not active in
that's true.
Their child's life. So that's not always even true.
This is true.
And then, you know, I'm like, well, his attention is going to be taken off of me and my possible desire for kids because he already has that.
Kids, right.
And but that's not even always true. So it's like I try not to live in absolutes because nothing is absolute to me.
This is true.
And it's like I don't ever want to. I got out of in my early 30s, but you know when I thought I could still manifest the beautiful life that I wanted. Now I'm at the point. Now I'm past the point where I was scared of.
Right.
So I'm not scared no more.
Right.
Because I'm like, okay, we're here now. Like you in late 30s, you're not married, you don't have no kids. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
So I'm like, okay, well, life might not be the bed of roses you thought it was going to be. So why not just be open to whatever it might be?
Absolutely.
Because I'm like, maybe God got somebody who has kids that you need to be an influence over because you're good with kids and you're good with young girls.
Well, I agree with that.
And so I'm like, to me, you know, my preference might be off.
Okay.
It might be wrong. So I have my preference.
Okay.
I have my preference, but I'm still relatively open. If you
I get it. You know, we're the same with that. Yeah. I would prefer to date a man without children, but I have dated multiple men with children. And to me, it's just the way that you interact. If, again, like you said, if it becomes every excuse is the kids, then I'm just going to slowly fade myself away because then I know that there's never going to be a time where I'll be a priority. Right. And I don't mean a priority over your children. Right. I mean a priority, period. Yeah. Yeah. Because in the beginning, if you can't make any time for me as a priority with kids, that lets me know later on down the line I don't have a chance.
And then as the relationship progresses, as it moves into marriage, like people get sedentary.
Yes.
So it's only going to become more of what you think you don't like.
Yes.
So, you know, it's going to flesh itself out in a relationship. It's going to flesh itself out when you're living together. And so it's like different things are going to come up. And let me say, first of all, I don't know where this wisdom comes from because this is not my situation.
It's amazing.
But it's like, I just know life. You know, like I study life and it's like, the more you study it, the more you can't know it. Facts. Because if you could figure out life, then you would be practically Jesus, and ain't none of us him.
Come on.
So it's like you don't know at the end of the day. You don't even know where God's taking you to. You don't know. It's like, yeah, I want him to look like Idris, girl. He probably short, bald, and white. Like you don't know. Like you're not sure.
It's time to start looking at the other races, is it?
But this is the thing. They say black women are so sold on a black man. Yes. Black men are not. They don't feel the same way.
A black man will date everybody. We will feel an obligation to them. They will never feel that obligation to us.
Right. And they always say, no, that's not true. It's because y'all attitude, because y'all talk too much. I'm like, because that's what happened on our last show.
This is true.
But it's like, no, sir. No. You know the honesty. You know the real love, the matter. Like, and you know what y'all prefer. And I'm not taking nothing from you. Like, if you like them, light, bright, hair down the back, whatever the case may be,
that is your preference.
But I'm just saying that that's what the case is that you all are way more open to other races than are we.
Yes.
And so it's like, you know, it puts us in a place where our options are minimal.
Very limited.
Yeah.
Very limited.
Very, very limited.
And then you have the men. Then you have the men that think in their mind they look a certain way. And so they think their person is supposed to look a certain way. Yeah. And so everybody's always going to be crossing in the night because she's never going to look at you.
Exactly.
And he's never going to look at her. Like it's just it's always going to be crossing in the night because again, in your mind, you feel this is your type.
And I had a friend he's Greek, you know, fraternity. Okay. And he was like, you know, I always had in my mind the kind of woman that I wanted. Yep. I wanted her to look like this. Her hair was like this. Her color was like this. He was like, and when I opened up and realized that might not be it, I found my queen.
Wow. And
he's still happily married today. They got like, what, I want to say they have 4 kids. They got married in their 30s.
Ooh, Lord.
They ended up having 4 kids. And they're doing very well.
See?
And so, but it's like, you have to get your mind sometimes out of what you think you want for you.
Yes.
Because we don't always know.
This is true.
And that's like my friend LaTroy, he was just saying, like, it's not even always about how much you make. It's about, at the end of the day, making him feel like a man.
Yes.
And so that's another thing that I said, you have to know what you have to offer somebody.
100%.
Because some women will say, I'm not making your plate. I'm not catering to you.
Now that doesn't even make sense to me.
I'm not doing any of those things because I just feel like I'm a woman. Like, I don't need to be doing that for you. Like, I've heard women say stuff like that, and I'm like, that's what you want to do.
But the thing is what you should have looked at her and said, sis, who raised you? Like, seriously,
you know,
who raised you?
I've heard these, and I was looking at her like, really? And she's like, you know, I don't do that, and I'm not gonna be, you know, all you gotta do is make him feel good in the bedroom. I'm like, you know how many girls that can do that? Like, these girls are spinning on fans and dropping up the ceiling.
Do you
I'm like,
understand
there's no
they
way.
can climb the wall with just their hands, honey?
Hello.
Okay? They don't
I'm like, I want you to know, sis. Like, I don't care if you've been married to him 30 years and you think you know what he like.
No.
One of these youngsters off the street will teach you a thing or two. I'm like, it can't be rooted in sex, boo. It cannot be. I'm like, you have to be more to that man than that.
Yes.
Because he can't walk around feeling sex all day.
No.
But he needs to know when he come home, he can download his frustrations on his wife, who will know how to speak to those rages in him and calm him down.
100%.
He don't need you to just try to jump on him. You can't. It's not even possible.
Sex is not going to get him through the next 24, 48, whatever hours if he cannot mentally unload with you, his partner.
Right. And I'm like, and then we walking out this door every day with different things on our minds. 100%. I told my white coworker, I said, when you see the police behind you, you're not thinking this might be my last day on earth.
That's it.
That doesn't cross your mind.
At all.
You're not going out thinking, I don't want to have to run into the police. I don't want to have to deal with their racist service at this establishment. You can just go out and be you and be free and
you
be
can
happy.
go to Starbucks. You can go to, you know, Arby's and know good and well that you'll be back home by 6 o'clock.
Exactly.
If the police get behind me, I have to start thinking about who I need to call to get on this phone.
I'm nervous.
I need to see if I can hit the record button.
Yes.
I have all of these extra things. And as a black man, his is heightened. Because he know good and well if the cop is not having a good day, there is 7 times out of 10 that he won't make it home.
Hello.
So I have to be able to
understand that. Understand that about him. Understand that when he going into his workplace, he might be passed over 15 times before they give him a chance. Like all type of different things. So it's like, what do you understand about life and what do you have to offer?
Right.
Because everybody can do tricks and turn on their head.
That's true.
You know, somebody might be able to even cook better than me.
That's true.
We can go to a restaurant. Like, I will find a cook. But it's
I will order you the best.
The best steak. I'm telling you.
Medium.
Prime and provisions, dry rub.
Oh,
let's go.
Delicious. Yes. Steak 48. Come on.
Yes.
Even with your $100 bill.
Right.
Ooh.
And your dress code.
And your dress. Well, no, niggas did that. Not black people. Let me correct. Not black people. Black people didn't do that. Niggas did that. Okay.
But it's like you have to just be able to, you know, speak to them on a different level.
This is true.
But you have to be, like we said earlier, attracted to them and into them enough to even want to give them that.
To want to do it. Exactly.
Because you don't get that to everybody.
You don't. So last question. Do you think you need to see your partner in all 5 seasons? Happy, mad, stable, broke, and hurt?
I think that character can be determined without all 5 seasons.
Ooh. Tell me why.
Just because, you know, a lot of times, you know, people say, I knew his potential. I met him at 0.
Right.
But I knew he was 100.
Okay.
You know, and it's like, I like to pride myself on the fact that I always like Jay-Z. Like, you know, I was like...
Even back in the day?
Back in the day, too.
Oh, okay.
When he got with Beyonce, I was sick. I literally almost threw up. Because I was so hurt. I hated Beyonce for years behind that. I was like, she took my man.
Ow.
But I was just like, I just felt like you can just tell from his demeanor, the way he carried himself. Like, he used a different vernacular and he knew how to change with the times. You know, his swag was different. So he came out with the box and the gold tooth and the chains, but he realized that's not what they're doing right now. Let me put on a hat and a suit and elevate. They putting on jerseys right now and dancing on the beach. Let's do that. Like, he know how to change with the times. So that shows me you're adaptable and flexible.
Oh, true.
But outside of that, he said, you put me on anywhere on God's green earth and I'll triple my worth. So he knew how to value the talents that were in his hand.
Right.
And multiply them.
Right.
Make it do something else. And even like, you listen to him now and how he said, I never knew how to swim. 40-some-year-old man
had to
learn how to swim because he wanted to save his baby in case anything ever happened.
Right.
So it's like, you can read a man's character and tell what he's about without having to see him with the most money, without having to see him broke. Yeah. But I do want to see you mad because I want to know how you handle me when you're heated. Yeah. Do your emotions and your rage get the best of you where you flip off and you fly off? Right. And I can't even talk to you because I don't want to ever be the one trying to calm you down and your hand accidentally swing.
There you go.
And you gave me a black cat, but it was an accident. It was an accident.
I was trying to know 100%. So I need to know how you want to see mad because you want to see how they deal with anger.
I want to see how you deal with anger, right? Because you know people think they know people every day, and they murder them. You know, seriously. It's like, I need to know who you are for real. Right. You know, like, I don't need you just trying to be sweet to me all the time. I don't need you to roll over and make things nice and pretty all the time because you're not being honest. Right. Like, we need to have some type of friction. Right. So we can know how we need to work it out together. 100%. I don't need that to always be copacetic because that's not real life. Right. It's pretty.
Oh, very.
And it's nice, but it's not real.
It's not real.
And so it's like, and then I want to see how you grieve, not only just to see how long it takes because you can't tell anybody how long to grieve.
Not at all.
But I just want to see like how I can be of service to you. Right. If that means anything.
Absolutely.
I just want to know how I can make you better. Right. How I can make it feel differently for you. Right. So it's like, I need to know how to do that because grief is going to come one way or another.
Yeah. Everybody leaves this earth.
Exactly. Right. And so I'm like, I need to know, you know, at whatever capacity, I need to know if you can deal with me and my shortcomings. Like I said, I'm not perfect. Right. I have my times where I have anxiety for no reason at all. Can you deal with that? Or is that something that's going to get on your nerves?
Right.
Because
is that something that's going to trigger you?
Because my family, if the goal is marriage, my family has to give me to you. So I'm not their problem no more. That's like, true. I don't go stay with them for days and have them come for me and go out of town. Like, that's going to have to go through you. Can you handle that?
Exactly.
So it's so
gracious. What a word. That's
so it's so many things that, you know, we look over and we leave out for the sake of trying to be in a relationship. Hey, Diane. She said good conversation. But it's like, if you don't think about really what a relationship, because you know people these days are so invested in what can I get out of a relationship.
100%.
How can I look cute with you on social media?
Oh, girl.
How can we wear a bikini and go to Dubai and ride a camel better than these people?
Of course. Excuse me. We have to color code and match.
All of that. Because we have to do a TikTok video.
Of course, and we have to, you know,
we have to do all of those things.
We have to.
I mean, and I have to look this way because that's what they tell me I have to look like.
100%. I mean, look.
There's so many factors that are being dictated to us that we're not living for ourselves for real anymore at all. So it's like, I want to know if that's the world you live in. Do you need to perform for this social media world?
Oh, because now, you know that's a whole nother conversation.
It's a whole nother conversation.
The social media world in dating has just become, to me, just tragic. Because I have seen people lose potential good husbands because in the beginning he wouldn't post them on social media. Right.
And that's my thing. I don't want you to. Because listen, I know that there is a group that's going to flock to your page. Boom. Checking everything they can check. Yes. As soon as they find out that you're him. Yes. That's why I'll be like, don't tag me.
Don't tag me.
Don't post a picture.
Don't post me.
Don't say that. You know. I'm trying to protect the relationship, the integrity of it.
And you want to know what's so crazy? Women have diminished the whole social media thing so much that now men think something's wrong with you.
Exactly.
If you don't, well, what are you hiding?
Right.
I'm not hiding anything. Well, why do you care? It's not the fact that I don't care. Right. I don't let the world into my personal business. But you saying that makes you sound odd and crazy because of how much significance other people have put on social media.
Because it's like, I tell people all the time, I post all day. I'm on social media. I can share a million things. You don't know me personally.
There you go.
And that's why my tagline on Instagram is you can see pictures, you can see food.
Right.
You see beauty, but see me about seeing me.
Oh, come on.
Because I'm like, you're not going to see me. Right? I'm like, you're not going to see anything that I don't want to show you.
Right.
You don't know where I stay. You don't know what it looked like. You don't know where I drive. Like, and I don't need you to know. You don't know where I work.
It's none of your business.
It's none of your business.
I don't know you. Literally,
you shouldn't be able to jump on, because that, you know what really did it for me? Like, I was doing it before this, but what did it for me was to show you.
Yes!
When he went to social media, read the whole girl life. He was able to put 6 and 7 together, followed you to your house, found out who your daddy was, found out who this one was. I'm like, and that's why I don't even like giving out Facebook all the time, because Facebook got my family, my church, where I be. Like,
I would definitely rather give you my Instagram.
There's
nothing on there.
Right. But I'm like, that Facebook, they gonna see, oh, they got the same last name.
Yeah.
Oh, this must be a family member. Oh, this was, so I'm like, you know, you got to be careful.
That's so true. See, I've never learned how to do like the social media investigations that people can do.
Yeah, I do those.
Oh, really?
Because when I find out your name, I'm going to go look. Oh. Because that's how I find out whether or not you're lying to me. Because I found out somebody was lying to me. He told me he had no kids and was a year younger than me. Turns out he had grandkids and was 10 years older than me. I'm like,
lies.
What was that lie? What were those lies about?
But the thing is, how was that ever going to be sustainable?
How?
If y'all ever actually start dating.
Exactly.
How?
How was that sustainable?
You can't lie about having kids. I've had somebody like, and the thing is, I know it was just into reaction. It was we didn't follow each other on social media. It was our very first time meeting. We were having drinks or whatever. And of course, I'm in my mid-30s, so you are going to assume I have kids.
Right.
He was so taken back and thrown or whatever. I know he just said it because I said no. Right. But you have 2 kids at home.
Exactly.
I can never date you now because you lied about your kids.
Exactly.
Like,
I mean, bone of your bone, flesh of your flesh.
Come on.
How are you lying about that?
You had them. Those are yours. I can't. Oh my God, this has been absolutely amazing. I want to give a round of applause to Toya for holding me down, coming through. You know, I get shit comes up, people have to cancel, but again, this show will always go on.
Yes.
And baby, you are amazing.
You too.
And I know that your husband is walking right on down that aisle soon. I can feel it. You're at peace. You're at peace. You know who you are as a woman. You know what you're looking for. I've been around so many women that I look at them and I'm like, well, you're single because that's who you are as a person. You know what I mean? Right. And it's so hard for us to identify our flaws. And I want to give both of us a round of applause.
Yes.
For
we were open about that.
Yes. All of our flaws in the beginning of this. Yes. Because we know that we're not perfect. We know that we are flawed, and we know that in order for us to walk in our purpose, that we have to admit and work on those things.
Yes.
So,
sure.
We want to say thank you for joining us for Ladies Night.
You guys
I know, thank all of y'all. Shout out to the girl. You come on through next time for Ladies Night. We get you on. Okay. Again, we're going to give a special shout out to Sir Goodwin on his birthday. Happy birthday. And we will see y'all. No, y'all might see a group of men up here trying to do this same thing on Friday. We will let y'all know. But you know, we are a fair podcast, y'all know that, and we like to. So the men are going to be doing this, you guys. Okay, so overall, does dating suck? Yes, 100%. It's a hell yes for me. What about you? You know, I just think I feel like I should have been born in the 50s or 60s because I'd have had better luck. Oh man, I swear. All of my sisters and siblings that were born at that time, they're married and it's better, but I don't know. So to me,
I think dating is very much different and way harder these days
100%.
than back in the day. But thank you guys for saying that it was a great conversation.
Thank you. We
Regina,
will see y'all soon.
Diane, all of you. And I'll check back in with y'all.